we're here in Chicago. We're a total team of 15, but 5 of my core team. What we do and what we have done is we go to apps, Tinder, Shazam, Meet Me, Weather Channel. Think of any type of app that's on the Play Store, Google App Store. And we say, hey, put this line of code in your app, pass us this data anonymously, we'll monetize it. And what we'll do is we'll give you a revenue source that's additional to what you're already doing, okay? So we've been doing that for 7 years. It's growing well. It's a profitable growing business. Here's an example of what we do with the data. This is the perfect example, okay? So we all knew, let me continue with that. We know that the Whopper, so Burger King has just announced, this is 2019. They announced that they're going to start selling the Impossible meat, this plant-based meat, okay? So that's their goal. Their goal is to drive more physical people to Burger King to see how this product actually sells. So what we did as Complementics, because we have all this raw location data anonymously with one of our clients, Barclays Bank, the top 10 bank in the world, they're a client of Complementics. We said, is this new burger driving more traffic to Burger King versus McDonald's in the same areas? And ironically, they used St. Louis and they used Kansas City. So let me rehearse that again. You look at all the Burger Kings in St. Louis before they launched the Impossible Whopper, and then they launched the Impossible Whopper, and then you compare them, okay? Is it driving more traffic versus less traffic? And then you compare McDonald's in St. Louis and Kansas City as well, right? And what we were able to show, and you can see here, this is utilizing Barclays Research and Complementics. This is on CNBC. This was the CIO of Charles Schwab retweeted this. Everybody retweeted this because we were one of the first companies to know that this Impossible Whopper drove more traffic than McDonald's in those key areas, right? So there is value in us as Complementics in this scenario, knowing before Burger King does an earnings call, before McDonald's does an earnings call, that people actually want to go to Burger King to try out this new Whopper. And that got popular. Then all these hedge funds and banks came out to us, and many of those came on board, and those are clients of ours. And that's where Tapestri comes in. So with Complementics, my main goal was going to apps. Hey, app, put in this line of code. Hey, app, put in this line of code. And most of those apps had another core business. It's a dating app. It's a travel app. It's a game, right? Like that's not their core business to sell data. And many of them are trying to do it all hush hush secretly, but they are consenting you. It's deep in the privacy policy and the terms of agreements that you'll never read, of course. But what I want to do is get around all that. So Complementics is a growing business. It's still here in Chicago with a lot of clients. I'm going directly to the consumer. I'm telling the consumer, I want to collect their information anonymously. I want to do things like this, right? This is a perfect example. Something else launches, we will see in the real world what people actually do. And when we monetize that data, we pay you for it. Instead of me paying Tinder or Shazam, other Weather Channel, or Candy Crush or Angry Birds, I pay you. So a proven system. Imagine us doing this in every city in America, eventually every city across the globe, looking at London and Dubai and China, how China's growing or not growing, or looking how American cities are growing, or how American universities are growing, all completely anonymously. So that's kind of how it works. Hopefully that brings a bit more clarity in there. So imagine we launched Tapestri. We have tens of thousands of users, which is a decent amount, but in the world of apps, it's really, really small. I throw Complementics data in there as well. So now when you walk into Walmart, you see a lot of people, right? Because Complementics sees 96% of the US population currently through a whole network of 25,000 apps that we work with. The goal is to have Tapestri replace Complementics data set, right? As so many people are concerned about ethically sourced meat and everything has to be organic, we care about ethically sourced data, and that is with your permission and with paying you. That's the goal. Okay, so here is an example. Every week we do these calls. I try to give just different examples of how this data is being used. So this tweet is by Liz Ann Saunders. I'm not sure you know who she is, but just to kind of give her a background, she's the chief investment strategist at Charles Schwab, a brand that most Americans and most people across the world are familiar with. Here you could clearly see what her tweet's about. She's highlighting our company, which I'm thankful, Complementics, which is now combined with Tapestri under one unit.
But you can see what they were trying to look at, looking at the S&P 500 companies, looking at their headquarters specifically. This is October of 2020, really deep in the age of COVID, where many people were saying, big cities are dead and no one's going back to the office. I'm sure you guys all remember that. We don't want to talk too much about COVID. I know it's all in the news right now, but utilizing data, clearly you could see that, there was an increase or a decrease here. And what she's specifically saying is not likely to happen. And how do you understand if people are physically going into the office? One of the best ways to understand that is looking at mobile location data. And currently, most of that data is held by just big, large technology companies that we all know about. And this is not about disparaging them. Many of these companies have built great companies. It's very hard to get to the scale that these companies are. The only challenge is they're not paying us for it. We believe when consumers give up data, they should be compensated for it. And this is an example of how we monetize data with working with large, reputable, respectful companies like this in a very transparent, ethical way. Another example we highlight is looking at big theme parks. So this is Disneyland launching the Galaxy Edge attraction. And when they launch this attraction at Disneyland, the question becomes, did more people go to it, right? When Harry Potter Land opens up or this new theme park in China opens up, did physical people actually go there? And utilizing our data, we were able to show that the launch wasn't so great, right? And you can see here at the bottom that, Complementics is the data source behind all of this. We've been doing this for such a long time. So for any of you thinking like, where's the money coming from and do we have buyers? We've been doing this for such a long time. We actually have more buyers excited about Tapestri than our other data set. And the reason being is it's consented, right? You understand that there's a trade-off and you're being paid for it. And many large brands that you all know about that are in Target and Walmart and you're driving their car right now are ecstatic about that. The last thing I'll show you is what this data looks like. So when we monetize data, let me go full screen. So when we monetize data, the data looks like this. When we see all these apps from our phones, and we see about 400 million devices every single day, it looks like this. So you'll see a device ID, that is the unique identifier for your phone, not to be confused with your IMEI number or a serial number for your phone. It's not what that is. This is an advertising ID. You can see the app that we actually receive the data from, Weatherground app, which is a weather app, Forecast, and Wordscapes. You can also see that it's an Apple iPhone, the gender's a male, and they're at Whole Foods, right? So if you're one of these apps, literally any weather app or dating app, you understand that they're at a point of interest like Whole Foods or McDonald's or at the airport or in Hawaii or in New Mexico or wherever they're at. You're already understanding that information. And you as the consumer listening to this right now, you're already giving that information away. The distinction is with Tapestri, when you give this information to us, we pay for it and we monetize it on your behalf transparently and anonymously. So when we run this, I'll just run this data set, for example, get this out of the way. There we go. And highlight a couple things. There we go. This is looking at the city of Chicago, what we actually see, where we're actually based. And your life and mine kind of looks like this. It's a sporadic, it's a tapestry of sorts of us living our life in a circle. We go to the same places over and over again, dropping off kids, going to the grocery store, going to the gym, going to church, flying, working, staying at home, all of the things that we do every single day. We've been tracking for the last 5+ years and monetizing it. And we believe this information is powerful and we want to open it up, democratize it, and share it with the world anonymously, right? So it's not me or Danny or Tom or Chuck. It's just how people's life actually looks like in the real world. And eventually you'll be able to see this across the world as well. So I just want to highlight those key points that number one, we've been doing this for such a long time. The distinction is we're going to pay you for it.
Deep in the pandemic, like last year, we were working with real estate firms, we were working with financial institutions, we were working with large brands. One of the real estate firms, a multi-billion-dollar firm, owns a lot of properties in Florida, and they were movie theaters, right? IPEC theaters, which are pretty popular in South Florida. They reached out to us directly. They're like, well, we want to remove those and put a Walgreens and a CVS there. How many people are in Delray Beach right now? Well, we know. We know the answer to that. How many people or flying American or Delta or going to Paris next summer. I mean, you think about the kind of questions that any brand, any large institution may ask. Tapestri, Complementics will have the answer to that. And when I monetize that, it's not Chuck went there or Michael Langto went there or Giorgio went there or Neil went there. It's a completely anonymous. It's a cohort. It's a specific group of people. So that's just the tip of the iceberg of what we would want to do with this type of data.